Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be reviewing, or at least re-evaluating, the Crazy Dongpal Pro lever. After Rising Soul's comment on my last video, the Korean lever review video about the Crazy Dongpal Pro, I decided to wrap some electrical tape around the actuator to see if it mitigated any issues that was concerning this lever. Now, my initial issue with this lever was that I found hitting corners a little bit difficult and somewhat unforgiving at times. Something I didn't have an issue with previous levers in the past. As you know, this has been my favorite lever before, and it was the one I mained before I moved over to the Golden Lever Pro. But I couldn't quite put the Crazy Dongpal Pro in S tier just due to its really tight corners. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to hit. I initially tried another actuator. I believe I tried the one from the 309 Help Me, but that didn't really fix the issue. I found that I believe the actuator that comes with this specific lever is designed for it, so I don't like, if I try something else, I just don't think I'm going to get a good outcome from it. The reason I always go back to this is because I've always loved the really short throw on this. I love how snappy it is. I love to KBD on this lever, but occasionally, you know, sometimes I'll miss my diagonals. Actually, that was more on one occasion I would miss my diagonals, especially when I was trying to input like wave dashes. I'd miss the down forward sometimes, or some input would be missed. This irked me quite a lot, and I guess it kind of annoyed me as well because I rely on movement a lot, especially when I'm trying to like wave dash. And even if I'm trying to do like, say, hell sweep, that would miss. Like, I couldn't get that, and you know, the corner just wouldn't happen. So after, I'd say, a week of testing this out with electrical tape wrapped around the actuator, I did notice a big improvement. So shout out to Rising Soul for this. A massive improvement in my diagonals, and my wave dashes seemed more consistent and smoother. Even like, I know I said my KBDs were great, but they felt even better afterwards. Honestly, like, overall, this is a great lever. Like, and I ask that you don't skip this, because this is not one that you want to sleep on. It is a really nice lever, and it is the most Mishima friendly, I want to say, lever. But yeah, that's kind of like more from my own experience that it feels more Mishima friendly. I think it's one of the better levers that I've used within the last 6 to 7 months. I mean, there is even no wobble in the neutral, as you can see. Like, there's nothing here, which is nice compared to the Neo, for example. That wobble's like crazy in the neutral. The tension feels really nice and compressed as well. So I actually went down, and I've mentioned it in my previous video, but I went down a grommet tension on this because I thought it was too compressed. And this comes with a 25 grommet, which is relatively light as it is. I went down to 20, so I just went one down. You know, it was almost perfect. It was almost perfect up until the diagonal issue. And I kind of consider this more of a slightly upgraded version than the Neo. However, I think after trying the electrical tape, I think that made a huge difference in how I was able to play. But I wouldn't really rely on this long term, because after a while it started to like it felt a bit spongy after a while, and when I looked at it again, I noticed some of the bits were like peeling off a bit. So something to take into consideration if you are going to attempt to try putting electrical tape, one layer, should I add, of electrical tape around the actuator. But overall, considering how I've had some successes with this, and you know what, like, even like yesterday, like this week, I went to an offline tournament, and I actually used this lever, and I actually managed to make it through pools for a little bit before I was completely out. But I relied on this lever for being a little more precise with my electrics, because I find my electrics are really precise with this compared to other levers. I just think that it's the only letdown was this was the corners, and that if they weren't so tight on essentially, or unforgiving in hitting them, I think this would have been like the holy grail lever for me. It's just such a shame that I have to knock a few points off it, because of how unforgiving those corners are compared to, say, the Golden Lever Pro, where I have no issues at all trying to get corners, movement, or anything of that nature, because it's just so much more easier to do. I'm not sure if this is just a intentional thing for the Crazy Dongpal Pro to be this tight on corners compared to all the other levers I've used, but otherwise, if you know, forgetting that the corners are hard to hit, this is a really good lever. And I genuinely, like I said before, I ask that you don't sleep on it. It is something that I would suggest really giving a chance and looking into, especially if you're a Mishima main. This is quite nice, and I like a very short throw, so this is something that really kind of attracted me or drew me into this, using this lever, purely because of how short the throw is, and it just how things felt a little bit more easier to do in a sense of hitting like electrics and stuff. It's just my wave dashes can suffer a bit, and sometimes my hell sweeps can suffer quite a bit, but I found that using electrical tape around the actuator really helped a lot. I wouldn't use it again as long term, not something I would suggest as a long term thing, but something to consider if you are looking to kind of give this a go. One more thing that I want to mention is that this can have spin as well, just like the Neo, just like most other K levers. You can have spin on this. I prefer not to, because I don't like spin on my levers. I don't like spin on my capsule tops. It's something that kind of throws me off when I'm playing, but absolutely you can if you like spin. This bit here can be removed, and there's a little cylinder part inside where you can kind of switch around, and that basically allows spin. If you like that, you can absolutely do it. So it's nice that you have an option between spin or no spin with this lever, and I myself have chosen no spin. So that wraps up my thoughts on the Crazy Dongpal Pro lever. Thank you so much for you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate all that you do for me. Stay tuned for more content on levers. Thanks so much. Bye.